taking no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those in the windshield wipers slapping at the tempo, playing perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo Podcast, the most downloaded gig economy podcast on the planet. I do have the live stream audio podcast listeners. You are in here again today, as you were last week. We're going to try this again. If it flops out of here, after I think starting next week, I'm going back to just the audio podcast being its own separate thing, but didn't want to uninclude you. Have your own discussions in there. Put in all caps. If you have a question, I will try and grab it, but you guys move really quick in that chat. And then on the video side, you guys are either watching on Rideshare Rodeo channel or you're watching on Go Gigits channel. This week, my guest is Ron. Ron is an app-based worker, app-based gig platform worker in Massachusetts. And if you are not familiar with Ron, you will be here soon. Ron, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally. The timing of this discussion should be pretty good. So, obviously, if you are a gig worker and you notice that we're going to be talking about some rideshare, do not go anywhere because all is coming around to everybody. This is not. If you hear rideshare things, try and stick with it. Even if you don't do rideshare, because this is very related to everybody this week. There's a lot going on, and so there's two things I want to hit on. Well, first, there's one thing I want to hit on before we jump into the nuts and bolts of this one. But before I even do that, Ron, you want to give us a little quick background on you and how you got to the gig economy and doing this?
All right. I started in the transportation gig economy in 2017. I was dealing with some stuff going on with my family. So I was in the construction industry and got to a point where my headspace wasn't right, trying to work on tools. And I was in the plumbing industry, hanging pipes and different things. And when you're in the construction industry, you want to make sure you assemble everything right, because if you don't, somebody can get injured or killed. So my head wasn't in the right space. So I took a little sabbatical and got into gig work, started off with Uber and Lyft, and downloaded the app. Within 15 minutes in Dallas, Texas, they say, hey, you're good to drive. So turned on the app, started in 2017, and I've been at Uber and Lyft ever since. So it's been a good experience.
By the way, Ron just pointed out how bad the background checks are. Not that he wouldn't have passed, but he's being honest. In 2017, you probably might have been activated in the same day you tried to sign up.
Yeah, 15 minutes for me. So of course my background clean. So yeah.
Right. I mean, yes, you would have passed a good background check, but it just points out that nobody can run a real background check in 15 minutes. You just can't.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So
but before we get into what's going on in Massachusetts and what a lot of people need to know, I first wanted to hit on, because I know this affects a lot of people, and I've had a lot of different opinions on this. I saw your post about doing 5 dashes a day. I understand why you're doing it. I know that you have to do. It's not me. I literally just cannot do the games on DoorDash. But I know that Kim does them. You do. You're trying to do it. So can you explain to people who might just do rideshare or other things why you're doing this and why you have to do? I mean, when I say 5 a day, it's not like he's looking. Maybe you are, but I don't think that he's looking forward to doing it. It's he has to keep a certain status.
Yeah, that is true, because I'm a platinum dasher. I have family and friends all over the United States. So, and what I like to do is when I go visit them, if I want to extend my stay, I can always turn on DoorDash, do a few here and there, make money, test out their market to see, compare it to Massachusetts and see if they make more money where they're at, or if I make more money where I'm at. So that's what I do. So I keep platinum dasher, do 100 plus per month. So I do a minimum of 5 basically every day, or 30 per week, so I can keep that platinum status for the Dash now accessibility.
Right. And for those not familiar, even if you're just familiar with the fact that if you're like, well, I don't do that, but I remember when they had Top Dasher. Well, yeah, they had Top Dasher. They had 70%, 50%. They had tiers. They had this, that. They've had so many different things, but this one is a little bit even more unique. I think they're all, I mean, they're beyond gamification on DoorDash, but I think this one's a little different because it's rolling. So it's like, I've had a lot of people say to me, well, couldn't those Dashers just always stay above 80? Well, yeah, but the new part is that you have to keep a certain amount of dashes under your belt in every week or every month.
Oh yeah. Yes, 100 per 30 days. So rolling 30 days, rolling 100. So once you fall below 100, you drop down. I'm platinum. I'm planning on keeping platinum because there's a lot of advantage, especially since I do Uber and Lyft and multi-app, and there's a lot of advantages for me to keep it above that minimum because I can dash now whenever I want.
So if you, just out of curiosity though, I know DoorDash is in your primary, so we're about to move out of that, but I'm just curious, do you still see dashes even at the 80, when you're 80% plus? Do you still see dashes that, look, the LOP's gone? I know people will debate me about this all day and they'll be like, well, there's still catering. Yeah. No, there isn't, guys. No, there isn't. I worked with Easy Cater. I worked with Paraworks. I've worked with their teams. They don't give orders to DoorDash anymore. Easy Cater is actually giving away $25 coupons to individuals. I've done 2 delivered in the past 2 weeks that were under $50 total because they're trying to actually take away even just delivery from DoorDash. Like their Easy Cater in their name. They are a catering company, Easy Cater. But they're literally stepping away and saying, you know what? If we give away coupons, DoorDash is so bad at their job, we can steal their clients.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, you know what? I mean, now DoorDash orders that are just what would be normal DoorDash orders are coming across on Deliver and other apps as catering orders because people don't want to use it anymore and they're being ripped off. But that's why I wonder, do you still see things where you're like, I need to keep above 80% because that's the only way I see these good orders?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that is true. That's the only way I in my market see the good
orders. But I mean, do you see good orders? That's what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, especially after 5, you see some really, really good orders. During the day, I rarely see a large order. So there's so many new dashers, new faces in my area. It's like, so
okay, to my point, doing this for you and your market is helpful. You do see a much better group of offers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just like checking in with everybody because everybody's a little different. I've had some people who have been on that, I'm always a top dasher. I'm always 80%. I always stay play their games. But I've had a lot of people in their markets telling me even after years of doing this, they're walking away from these games. Wow. They're like, no, dude, because even what I do see when I attain that status isn't worth it.
Oh yeah.
So it's not worth me keeping it.
Yeah.
But if you're seeing it, that's why I ask with everybody. We all know it's a little bit different for everybody. So,
oh yeah, because it's surprising. I rarely see a $2 offer these days. It's like, wow, go into my 5. Don't see any $2 offers. They give me $6, $7, $8, $9 offers, and do my 5, and I'm good to go. So,
yeah. Okay, so that's the DoorDash part out of the way. Now, Ron does a lot of rideshare. I've done rideshare since 2015. I am back. I am back on Uber. I am never going back on Lyft. Since the pandemic, I didn't even bother. Since 2020, that was my last Lyft ride. I don't think I'll ever go back on Lyft. Something major would need to happen. I just don't think Lyft's going to be around long enough for me to bother putting my time in. And even what they do seems to just, I don't know. I have too many apps on my phone as it is. The last thing I need is Lyft. If I want to do some rideshare, I'm much better off doing Uber in my market.
Yeah. That is true.
I don't know. Again, maybe for you, there's times Lyft is best. I don't know.
Yeah, it really depends on where I drive. Because the funny thing about it is, being in New England, I'm able to drive in 6 different states, no problem, because my app is based out of Massachusetts, both Uber and Lyft. So I can drive in Rhode Island, Vermont, Maine, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. I can drive in all of these states. And they all have, like, today I just did a trip, Providence, Rhode Island, like 2 miles for $2.49. Not,
Yeah.
not really worth it. So,
Well, and also when you're driving in all those different states,
yeah.
you're not what we're about to get into with this Massachusetts
Hmm.
crap. Well, I don't even I don't even want to give it any accolades. Listen, Maura
Yeah.
Healy and Andrea Campbell, you guys are
Oh yeah.
seriously messed up. I don't know
Hmm.
what's wrong with you people, but
Yeah.
um,
There's
but
there's
even
a
when you do,
caveat
if
to
you
that.
take a ride from say a Connecticut or something, you're not in that queue of system, are you? You're
No, I'm
not
not.
playing in the new game anyway in Massachusetts,
Not at all. No, not at
even if
all.
it's going to Massachusetts.
No, it has to originate in Massachusetts. So in order to
Okay,
get that
so
32.50 an hour.
let's focus in on that for a minute. So if you originate a ride in Massachusetts, because if you guys haven't seen, if you're not familiar, Ron did he had a funny a few weeks back he had a funny community post where he had like the money stacked out all the way down to change. So it's like I think it was 32.50, right? So
Yeah, 32.50.
yeah, so I mean, most of the drivers I know who have done this for a while, who know what they're doing, um, make in the Boston area, make more than 32.50 an hour,
Oh
an
yeah.
active hour.
Hmm.
And actually, I mean, maybe it's changed a little and maybe it fluctuates, but they actually do a lot better than 32.50 an hour. Okay.
Very.
So this is what's happened so many times. This is what I've always called it, floor meets ceiling. This is
Mhm.
where the people who not everybody's cut for the service industry life. I mean, they're just not. I ran a bar
No.
for 20 plus years. I've ran multiple bars, I've bartended, I've done all that stuff. And I can tell you, I've worked with many of these people who come in, and unlike gig work, they come in for a shift or two and they're like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta lift
Yeah.
ice, I gotta do this, I gotta run, I gotta work quick, I
Mhm.
gotta what? We're here till 3 a.m. Like they just quit. They're just not
Oh yeah.
built for this.
Very true.
And the same thing applies to this. And to be honest, I feel like these kind of things are just they're not even about the health stipends and the days the accumulated whatever you can get 5 6 days off or whatever. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
about that. It's about carrying the weight of the people who don't, and I'm going to be honest, who really don't want to work these apps.
Hmm. Oh yeah. That is
They don't
true.
even want to. And they're complaining. They're like, I can't make money on these. Well, then go do something else.
Yeah.
I don't look, if I don't want to do this job, I'm not going to go there and demand I get paid this amount of money. I don't want to do it in the first place.
Oh yeah. That's true.
So hustle, I mean, because with this, people need to understand that with this, you're killing, you're killing um, the businesses themselves. And if some people are like, screw it, I feel like dropping the grenade in the tank. I don't care if everybody gets destroyed during it. It's not working for me.
Mhm.
Well, that's pretty crappy because it works for look, none of us love it. And there's a lot of changes that need to be made, but you don't need to drop the grenade in. It's got enough
Oh yeah.
problems with those of us who enjoy doing it for you guys not just to if you it's like trying a job. If you try and you don't like it, don't demand a union.
Yeah.
Don't demand it become a W-2 job. Just step away. Go find a
Mhm.
W-2 job. Go find a union if that's what you want. I don't cross hairs with what people want.
Oh yeah.
If you want to work with a union, go work with a union. But don't force a union into my life.
Yeah. That's true.
You
True.
know,
True.
I'm and Ron, I mean, like, I don't know, like now you're guaranteed to make 32.50 an hour. And I know you put in your hours working. So I also know you're smart enough to know when should you work? When are you going to make the best money? You are probably one of the people who, when you're in the right area on the right nights that you like to work or right shifts, you're making 32.50 or more an hour.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
therefore, you're one of the people who's carrying the dead weight. And eventually, maybe you're not feeling it yet because it's still in its infancy in Massachusetts, but you're carrying the dead weight. And eventually that will pull down what you can earn.
Oh yeah. True.
Are,
True.
are you already feeling that?
Feeling a little bit of a pinch because right now there's so many the offers have gotten really bad since August 15th. So there's so many of them. I used to have to kind of weed through them before, but after that, it's like, wow, so many people have fallen for the trick. Oh, I'm gonna make 32.50 an hour. It's like, nope, it's per active hour. As long as you have on your way to get a passenger, you pick them up and drop them off. That's considered active or engaged time.
Yeah.
So I'm having to weed through a lot of crap or whatever you want to call it, BS or whatever you want to call it, just to try. That's why I'm leaning heavily on multi-apping. So
Have you talked to the customers directly yet? Are they paying more already? Because if not, they will be soon. But are they already? Have you talked to any passengers and said, "Hey, have you noticed that you're paying more?"
oh yeah, they're noticing it, especially on the weekends or late nights. Like one lady, I think it's a 15-mile trip for her on a Sunday night. It's like $100. So for me, what am I gonna get? Maybe $20 out of that. So yeah, so they're really talking. They're like, wow, what can we do? So a lot of them are just waiting it out and just trying to wait till the prices go down so it's more affordable and manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know, I mean, the little perks that they're bragging about, Ron is very familiar with it, I'm sure, but I'm actually pretty familiar with the Massachusetts issues too.
Yeah.
And honestly, this has been going on for 4 years. This fight was actually started by Maura Healey, and now she was the attorney general. Now she's the governor.
Mhm.
And feel free to correct me if I get any of this wrong, Ron. And and then Andrea Campbell stepped in to her
Yeah.
old position as attorney general.
Yeah, it's true.
And both of them have the same agenda. They're both heavy union people, real heavy. But again, the state is pretty heavy union too.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I don't know what people are wanting. I don't are drivers happy? Do you get any of that? Are you talking to other drivers? I mean, are they like, we're so stoked about this 3250? Or are some people just like, I didn't even know it was going on. What are you talking about? Or is it like, where is it? Like, is it that people are like, wait, what? I didn't even know that was happening. Even though
Oh
you get
yeah.
a check every 2 weeks or whatever they're doing, like Prop 22, but
Yeah, well, a lot of them are upset because they notice their pay is coming down and having to struggle to find rides. But like I have one guy that I met a couple weeks ago. He's in a town that I like to work in, and he was upset. And then he's like, "Whoa, Uber sent me a message that I got $400." I'm like, "Yeah, that's that adjustment that they're talking about for taking all these lowball offers." So, but me, going into almost 2 months, haven't got an adjustment from Uber yet.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
I make too much money. You have to drive smart. I got one from Lyft because Lyft, yeah, we used to be besties years ago, but we're men at
are you
odds.
seeing are you seeing differences since this? I mean, this law's been in effect for what, 8 weeks?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so are you seeing differences in the offers that come through to your screen?
Ooh, we most definitely. I used to be able to do about a 60-mile trip for about $75, and now it comes through right at 49. So, and then the other ones, they basic if it's
And
like
understand
30.
what he just said. That I guarantee you, the customer's paying when he was making 75 for that same trip.
Mhm.
The customer was paying less. I know that sounds crazy, but the customer's paying more now for Ron to make less.
Oh yeah. Yep, yep.
So
Some of the offers I get, they're just right at that 32.50 an hour. It's like, do I really want to drive an hour for 35 miles and make $33, or do I just want to stay local and take a lot of short trips and make the same amount of money? So that's my theory now. So,
is that what you're trying to do? Is just short
oh yeah,
trips?
yeah, I just do mainly short trips. So I have a lot of apps that I use now. I'm leaning heavily on Spark and Roadie. So if Lyft or Uber takes me to a spot, I can turn on them. And usually Spark out here is really good. So I can make $20, $30 in 10 miles or less off of Spark. So
But you've been multi-apping for a while.
oh yeah,
But
I have.
you were doing much more ride share out of the percentage of what you were doing on gig app platforms. Much more was going to ride share before.
Oh yeah, a lot more is a ride share, but nowadays since 2022 when they came up with the upfront pricing and cut the rates, just multi-app now is what I do. So
Yeah, I mean it's gotten ridiculous. I see Mike Drop Barbecue in here, and I know Jeff, and Jeff, Jeff says the same thing I say, guys. Get your own clients.
oh yeah.
Like don't be afraid. Every one of these companies puts you in lists you as an independent contractor in their TOS. They say it over and over and over again. They keep telling you you're an independent contractor. They tell the legislators that. They tell the lawmakers. They tell everybody that. The state, the transportation departments, in everything they do, they use the word independent contractor. So look it up in your state. And I say this because it's the same in almost every state. You have the right to land your own clients. So you have the right to be your own. You are your own business. Just most people don't know it already. But
oh yeah. I just want to say hello to Mike Drop Barbecue. Take a lot of his knowledge as well, and looking at getting into the private rides really, really soon. Just got to get a couple things lined up and make it happen.
Yeah.
So, because we're a rideshare family, my wife does it, I do it. So she's been at it 10 years. I've been at it 7.5. So looking at lining some
your
stuff
wife
up.
does it too.
Oh yeah, she does it. She's been doing it for 10 years. So she was doing it before we met. So, yeah. So we just kind of laugh at some of the offers we get and the stuff that they're putting us through right now in Massachusetts. Like, yeah, let's go this way. The Mike Drop Barbecue way to 300 private rides. Let's do it like that. Make a lot of money, do one trip and go home. So $200-300 in one day and go home. So
soon they're gonna throttle Jeff and my channels way down because they're gonna be like, you guys stop telling the secret sauce about getting your own clients. Like
true. Oh yeah, that's where we. Well, that's where we're at. But the people
that's what you get for treating people crappy. That's why we do it, guys. That's why we say it.
Oh yeah, and there are people that are wanting to go the private ride way. Like one lady, she wanted me to float her private ride for like a month while she changed jobs. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't float it like that for a month. So I was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much, really. To be honest, I have the feeling that enough people have done rideshare for long enough. I mean, when it was new, it was a different story, but it's been around since 2009, 2014, 15 in most markets. So at least a decade, pretty much everywhere. And I mean, people are pretty comfortable with the rideshare idea now. And if they've done it even a handful of times or however much they use it, all it takes is them having if their last ride was awful, or if their last two rides were awful. And if you were to say to them, hey, if you have a good connection with them and you were to say, hey, by the way, you can just call me direct. It's that I feel like this would have been much harder 6 years ago to say that to people. They'd have been like, they might have even taken the time to call Uber and say, your driver approached me and was like, I should call him directly. And I think but now people don't care. People are beyond that. They're like, people get in the car and say Uber sucks. So they know it. They're just using it as a tool. Same as us.
Oh yeah.
So literally there's nobody happy in the whole circle. The customers are pissed. The drivers are pissed. Everybody's pissed.
Even when you have a college student in Boston, they say, dude, how much are you getting for this ride? $5. He's like, dude, you're getting screwed. I paid $10. Like, yeah, that's the way they're doing it.
Or you get the passenger who says, this, I don't think this happens as much as it used to. I remember this used to happen all the time. If you got into a little bit of anything at night with somebody and they actually were like, well, you're paid pretty well though. It's amazing how they know how much we're being paid. Please. Just because you paid $100 for a ride. When those people would say that and go, look, I paid $100. I'm sure Uber takes a little, but you got me making out well. I'd show them. I'm getting 17, bro. Is that good?
Wow.
And it's like that. I mean, you could just show them and you're like, look, I'm getting paid $17. You paid $100. Just because you're getting screwed over, so am I. I'm not getting anything either.
Oh yeah. And we're the kind of people that keep our life private, but there are people that want to pay off the app. That's all I'm gonna say. So
yeah, no, I mean, look, these apps, these apps can be a good way for us to earn. If you're not multi-apping, I do think you're just gonna have so much trouble. Like both of us are referring to Jeff and his channel, Mike Drop Barbecue. He definitely does a majority of rideshare, but he's got, he's been doing private clients for a long time. So he's got a good amount of private clients. So he's already, I mean, to me, he's at a point of the apps are literally only to land clients. It's probably not even
Oh
about the
yeah.
money to them.
Oh yeah. But stay competitive because they can let you know what the price is like, so you can stay competitive. So on price, like
Yeah, I have a friend I know that does private rides here in Denver. I see the Driven Dad was in here too. He's in Denver as well.
hey,
But I know
Drew,
I have another friend that does private rides, and what he does is just to make it really simple, he just tells the passenger to open up either Uber or Lyft,
hmm
put in where they're going to, and he does it for 80%.
Wow, nice,
So
nice. That's
I mean,
easy enough.
that's a good way to start in case you guys want to break into the private ride thing and you want to see and you're wondering, well, how do I do all the calculations? You can come up with that in time. You can just
Oh
have a
yeah.
straight 70-80% and be like, open the app, put in the airport. How much does it
hmm
show? It's going to
Oh
be
yeah.
this much. Okay, I'll charge you 70% of that.
True. Yep. That'll work. But the girl today in Rhode Island, there's no way I can compete with that $3.23 or something, whatever she paid. There's no way I can compete with that. So, but you want the
Yeah.
higher clients, the ones willing to pay, because yeah, they are really good. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll
So
say.
I know Mike and I were talking about this today. If you guys haven't seen the Be My Own Boss podcast, you really should be watching that. Mike and I came up with a thing that I'm going to tell Ron here and all of you right now because we did it. We came up with it after the show today. When I was talking about is it what's the number 3? Is it a ballot or is it a proposal? What do you guys call it in Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's well,
It's going to
they
be a
call it
ballot
ballot
initiative. Is that
initiative is what they
yeah?
call
Okay.
it.
So this ballot initiative number 3, literally here in a nutshell, here's how. So it's like 1,700 words long. Mike said it took him about 4 hours to read it and understand
Mhm.
it. So I said, you know what? Read it and record it. And we
Wow.
talked for a while, and he's going to do that. We're going to put it up,
Okay,
the
cool.
video. He's going to read the whole thing. He said it's going to take about 4 hours.
Wow.
And it's going to be a stream that you can watch. And that's just to learn about one ballot proposal. It's to point out how
Yeah.
stupid it is.
Oh yeah, it is crazy.
But this thing anyway, so the deal was okay, Massachusetts for all these years, they wanted drivers to have the active time earnings, and actually they wanted them to be employees, but they're settling for this. The active time, you're gonna get a perk of medical, you can get some days off,
Oh yeah.
this, but not full W-2 benefits, but you're getting all these active time type weird state initiative backings that I think you can find on your own, honestly, if you look for them. Like I think
Yeah.
Obamacare is as good as what Prop 22 can offer in California.
Well, we have Mass Health, so that's what we have. Anybody in Massachusetts can qualify just based on your income. You're going to pay more or less, just depend on your household income. So that's what we
Right.
have.
So again, something that it's just kind of a joke, doesn't really help you
Yeah. hmm
because you have another way to go about it. But the point being that so they come up with all these things and they go to Uber and Lyft and they say, is this agreeable? They've been debating this for 4 years. They finally come up with this settlement. They're like, okay, 32.50 an active hour. Here's how it'll work. And I mean, behind the scenes, Uber and Lyft are already thinking, okay, we're going to raise the prices on the customers. We're going to downplay the drivers. We're going to barely let them earn that, if even. And that's how it's going to work. And their only rebuttal to this entire thing was to Maura Healey and Andrea Campbell was you cannot let them organize, you
Yeah.
cannot let sectoral bargaining, you cannot let them do this. That's it. That's all we're
hmm
asking. And so they make this agreement. They say, okay, fine. They say, that's fine. We'll do the 32.50. We'll do all this. We finally got a deal. And, we're going to let this, we're going to let this, we're going to let this ride. And literally within days, Andrea Campbell gets on board with a union company and
hmm
introduces this ballot initiative number 3. And if you vote yes on this, you are voting that the drivers can have a union. It's the only thing
Yeah.
that Uber and Lyft requested or demanded. They demanded 11 things, they got them. Uber and Lyft
hmm
demanded one thing. And 2 days later, after they got their 11, they said, well, wait, we want the unionization too.
Oh yeah.
So now they want the unionization too. And if they get it, I mean, this is a real mess. This is
Yeah, it
a
is.
real mess. Like, this would be a huge mess for you if this goes
Oh
through.
yeah. Well, if they get it, I think the agreement we're under right now, it's done. So yeah, because even when I looked at the original, Andrea Campbell, she never even signed it. Someone else signed the agreement. So I don't know if she's 100% aware. She has a group of people that list their name, but it doesn't list her name on who actually signed it and approved
Right,
it.
right. Well, I'm just pointing out what's real. I don't care where she
Yeah.
signed your name. I know where she intervened.
Hmm.
Just because she
Yeah.
has somebody else like you sign it. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's just an assistant of hers that's signing it because she told him to. So
Hmm.
really it's still the powers that be. She's still said, kick this into motion.
Hmm.
Because she should have also been on the as much as she doesn't want to, she should have been on the side of Uber and Lyft in this regard and said, no, we can't have this ballot. We just made an agreement with them, and this is the only thing they demanded.
Oh yeah.
So her responsibility as attorney general would be that. So this is just clearly a joke. Um, and what they're doing, I mean, I really just don't understand. I know that, as Mike and I were talking about today, I know that a lot of states will follow Massachusetts. So if this falls, a lot of states will kind of temper down from boiling. But if this succeeds, a lot of
Mhm.
states will push things forward very quickly to follow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just absolutely horrible. So I want to take a second and catch up with the chat here. I see some people saying hi, and I just want to see who's in. What's up, Gil? Hey, Traveler. Hey, Ellen. Hey, Carnifage. Hey, Kenny Rivera. Mile High Miles, Rick, even Asuka, and even Asuka. So here we get to, I think we're getting to a couple of the questions here. So wait, why would anyone move their cars for $249? Move their car. What? Oh, are you talking about some kind of like low ball offer of $249? Yeah, don't
I think
not
he's talking about the one I did earlier today. It was just an experiment. So yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I'm doing a
Yeah,
lot of
I'm of
experiments
I
these
used to say $5. I now say 10. And
Oh
nothing's happening
wow.
to my car for less than $10. Nothing.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Like,
doing a lot of experiments. There are a lot of other drivers in Massachusetts doing experiments because yeah, it's a little crazy. So there's some testing we got to do just on the rideshare platform. So
absolutely. So
keep an eye out for rideshare.
Jeff says
Go ahead.
Massachusetts is about to get the NYC treatment of lockouts if the state says online pay, even if not um, having a ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because and why Jeff's saying that, if you guys are wondering, well, why wouldn't they just let the floodgates open and let every driver be on? If it's active time, it doesn't matter because you're
Mhm.
gonna have to pay that active time anyway. Who cares who you're paying it to? The thing is, they're accountable to have to go to the labor board and stuff and explain why they have 10,000 drivers on when they only need 500.
Mhm. True.
So
True. True.
it's just more accountability that they're going to be in the crosshairs for. It's kind of the same thing that's going on in New York. They're like, no,
Oh
dude, we
yeah.
just don't need the headache.
Yeah.
So
And I agree with him. Yeah. I
yeah,
think we're gonna go through that same thing. So
and I hope I'm saying it right. Damaris, she says everything depends on the area. Yeah, I agree. Market to market, even different apps. We know this. So 3250 is a bait for W2 workers who don't make that.
yeah,
Very
it is.
It is
Oh yeah.
because, the other thing is, and I've said this too, people see that 3250 and somehow their eyes very easily take out the active part of the hour. And they just think it's 3250 an hour.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make 3250 an hour. I'm gonna go become a rideshare. No, no, no. Buddy, you have to be active
Yeah.
with rides. You have to do
Oh
these
yeah.
rides.
That is true. And
You
Amara,
know,
she
and
was right too. It depends on where you drive, because like we can go to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I can start over there, and the payments are higher in Cape Cod opposed to regular Massachusetts. So before this new legislation, we had like 6 different parts of Massachusetts, and they all pay totally different around the state. So some are higher,
yeah.
some are lower. So yeah, she's right. So
I mean, are you? Do you? are people, is there a buzz yet of people upset? That's what I'm really kind of trying to get at, because it took people in California a while. They, thinking, even the people who were like confused at first, like, what is this Prop 22? They were like, let's just try it out for a while, see how it fits. Like, are people already like, wait a minute, this sucks?
Oh yeah, that's what they're saying. It sucks. So there's people that are really, really upset. They don't know what they want to do. So I just
Yeah.
tell them, hey, you can take the low ball offers. If you want to get that 3250, that top off, go ahead. But for me, nah, I'm going to drive smarter, not harder. So save my vehicle, because before all this went down in 2022, I used to drive like 70,000 miles in a year. No problem. I go all over the 6 states here in New England, go drive, see the beautiful places. And now it's like, do I really want to tear up my car and drive 65 miles for $40, less than $1 a mile? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I agree. And then even Asuka in Chicago, she's saying, agreed, don't force it down my throat. She's talking about these kind of initiatives. Like, just look, guys, like if you see these come to your market, or you start seeing, like, you start getting sense of like, wait a minute, I think we're going to do something like that here. Instantly get all about being against it right away.
Yeah.
It's, if you don't believe in a capitalist society, then again, go find a W-2 job or be in a union. Unfortunately, if that's what you believe, I actually believe in one. Do I believe in ours, and that it's completely just on the straight and narrow and everything's perfect? No. But I still believe that we need the capitalist society. If the companies can't make money, there's not a chance of us making money.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's a fact. I mean, that's just a fact. So, I mean, like, as much as we call them greedy, of course they are, but name me a corporation that isn't greedy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're all greedy, man. So it's W-2 workers get in rideshare and think 3250 is exactly what I was just talking. They don't. Yeah, exactly. Because they probably, even when they first saw it, even the way the articles read, it was like what we call clickbait on YouTube. And even the audio podcast listeners over here, same thing. Like, it's what you guys refer to as clickbait. Because the title of these articles were like, rideshare drivers will get $32.50 an hour. No, they won't. Read the thing.
Yeah.
And then you got to have the amount of volume that you need too. I know Ron's always busy. I know you do. I know you're always working. You keep it active, but again, you even just said you're multi-apping. There's always work.
How to nowadays, because I wish in reality they would have just really set the floor at $32.50 an hour. It'd have been a little bit easier to swallow. Like, okay, I'm gonna go 10 minutes and I'm gonna make what, $11 or whatever, opposed to going 1 hour and making $33. Nah, and not for me. So
right. And like you were saying, I think that it'll hit those long rides too. And some of those long rides are where a lot of rideshare drivers make their money. Like you were saying, a 60-mile ride used to make you $75. Now it's making you 46. Well, even if it only made you 38, they'd still claim you're getting more than the 32.50.
Oh yeah. No, can't do it. Can't do it. No.
And Traveler's up in Syracuse, and he's saying a lot of dead weight in New York. I can't make anything anymore.
Ooh-wee. Wow.
It's Jeff saying you might make 18 that whole hour for 30 minutes of driving, then make 17 for 30 minutes. About an hour and a half later, there's your $32.50.
That is true. That active time. Because people, like I tell these customers, there's no way we're gonna drive just 12 hours a day in a row and make $32.50 an hour. It's hard enough to drive 10 hours on the app and make $300-400 unless you're in the right area, right location, the right hour of the day. So
And then Bubba Sue, how are you? Tony the Driven Dad's in here. Life of Richard's in here. He's saying pay has dropped nationwide. In Atlanta, the average driver is making $16 an hour.
Wow.
I mean, again, guys, like, for those of you like tuning in, and if you're like new to rideshare, perhaps understand that if you're thinking, well, I mean, why is that so bad? Realize this is your car. You're not getting a company vehicle. So these are your cars. We will be trashing our own cars.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, and that offer I got earlier, that two, what was that, two something? That was like $14 an hour. Like, yeah, okay, this experiment is over. So yeah, that's where we're at.
so even Asuka, I think she's saying, I believe most of us got that, Steve. But if you get those clients and they find out, they disconnect you from the app. True. But if you don't do anything wrong at all and you work every day, you could get a notification one morning that you're disconnected from the app anyway.
Oh yeah, that
There's
is
no
true.
it's here's my point. There's no security at all with the app. And there used to it's never been great, but there used to be a little better of a process. Like now it's just if you're deactivated, you're deactivated. Why? Dude, don't ask. You're not allowed to ask. Okay, well, so I mean, you every day you're risking it just by working it. So you might as well. I know that it feels weird, but again, look up independent contractor in your state. Look up what your rights are. I mean, if Uber and Lyft want to call us something different, that might lead a lot of us to do different things. If they want to say, hey, you guys are all employees now, apply for your W-2 status, most of us are going to leave.
Oh yeah.
And like Ron said, he can make money on Spark. He can make money on other things. He'll do that. He's not going to go,
Oh, yeah.
okay, yeah, let me get in line to be a W-2 worker for you in my
Not at
car.
all. No,
Yeah,
no, not
way.
at all.
So I guess my point there is, the risk of deactivation for no reason at all. I mean, it could be a customer complaining literally so they don't have to pay $10 for a ride, or it could be that they meant to deactivate somebody else and accidentally deactivated you. You're just a number in the system. So if you get deactivated, you get deactivated. I mean,
Got a
so
point.
I mean, I just don't think that they don't have the resources to try and figure out who's taking private clients. Also, it's not really a fight I think they want to have, because like I said, there was a time when people were learning about this. Now this is like rideshare is like second nature to almost everybody. Almost everybody has done rideshare. Grandparents, everybody has tried rideshare in one way or another. They might have hated it and they never use it at all. They might have whatever, but they've had experience with it. And now as that keeps going, and as more people learn and learn and learn that they're paying more, and they talk to drivers and the drivers can show them too. That used to be something we were afraid of, but I know drivers that show customers all the time, look at what I make. And so that's getting them to go, wait a minute, I paid 5 times that. Right. But you paid me $20 to take you to the airport. You paid Uber $80 to process the transaction.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
they
mean,
don't understand that part. Like, wow. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's really all they're doing. Look, Uber has called themselves a tech company, but let's be straight up honest. They are nothing more than a simple dispatch system.
hmm
They are just an elevated, they're an algorithmic taxi cab company without a real person dispatching. That's all they
True,
are.
true, true.
So
And there was one comment that in the chat. I can't see it too much, but Damaris LeBron, she brought up something. It's better to go to big cities and forget the 3250. That is 100% correct in Massachusetts. You got to go, just forget about that. So, because that 3250, nah, it's definitely not worth it. So, definitely not worth it.
wait, are you saying it is worth it to go to the big cities or just not
Yeah,
at
go to
all?
the big cities. Yeah,
Okay.
because you make a lot more money. In some of the smaller towns, there are so many drivers, even with Spark and DoorDash, some of the smaller towns that used to be gold mines for me, it's like you rarely get a ping on Uber or Lyft now. So,
Do you think you can still make more though? Like on a consistent basis, do you think you can still make more in Boston?
oh yeah, I can make a lot more in Boston. So,
I mean,
oh
but
yeah,
like you used to. Like let's say you used to be able to pull 60 an hour on a weekend. Can you do that anymore?
oh yeah, you can do that easy. Yep, you can.
Even with this new 3250 thing?
Oh yeah, you can still do it. Yep, there are
Okay.
ways to make it happen. So,
Oh,
oh
okay.
yeah,
Okay. Well, so you have some ways. But I'm saying the
yeah.
average driver. Do you think that
Average driver, probably not.
do you think the potential is gone
I think it
or
is.
dropped a lot?
Yeah, for a lot of drivers, it has. Yeah.
I mean, this new 3250, how I would view it is, even in the big city, I would view, like, if I went to Boston, I don't know Boston like you. I don't know all the fishing holes you know. So I would probably, I'm viewing that, even knowing rideshare myself, I'm viewing that I probably would make this 3250 an hour. And if not yet, soon they'll know how to throttle me to the point that I only make that.
Yeah,
So,
they attempt, but yeah, you just gotta be selective,
yep.
selective, and position yourself the right time, the right location, and
Hey,
you'll.
Gigwise.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so what is this? So I saw someone delivering a DoorDash order on a scooter. Yeah, you can do that. You can do it on a bike.
Oh yeah. I actually do it on a scooter from time to time too. So I'll do it walking. So just to get the experience, see what it's like. So
Yeah. Um, yeah. So Driven Dad's talking about Hum, which is a big thing that Jeff talks about. If you guys aren't familiar with Jeff's channel, Mike Drop Barbecue, go and check it out. But he talks about Hum. I compare
oh
Hum
yeah.
to like dumpling. Um, that's kind of a little more. Uh, it's more dry. It's way more driver friendly. Um, but if you can't make 32.50 an hour, go home. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of, that's left up to interpretation though too, because again, market to if you live in rural Iowa,
Mhm.
32.50, you're making as much as the bankers.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're like one of the
yeah.
highest paid in the town if you're.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it depends where. I mean, I know travelers in Syracuse. So, I mean, like even in Syracuse, it's expensive to live, but it's that cost of living is less than Boston or New York City. So, um, I quit within 3 months of using that when I saw $7 for trips. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, not for her. Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's why you got to multi-app. You got to keep these
Oh
things
yeah.
juggling. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, but see, here's Gigwise weighing in for DoorDash and saying I'd probably flip on DD if they guaranteed me 32.50 per active hour. So you're saying, and by the way, he's a bigger DoorDash hater than I am.
Oh wow.
He
Yeah,
might
yeah,
be the
yeah.
biggest. And so like
Wow.
so you're saying for 32.50 an hour, if it for active hour, you do DoorDash?
Wow.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I average when I do DoorDash, I average about $21 an hour. So that's what I
right. But
average.
then you also, Gigwise is probably thinking, yeah, I mean, I hate DoorDash, but there's a lot of volume. So I would just take every order and if I work 10 hours, 9 of them would be active. I would question that if your market for DoorDash moved to a system like that, 32.50 an active hour, I would question that if you went out to work 10 hours, I would question if you could get 5 active hours in.
Yeah. So everybody would join. They want to be doing
Yeah.
it too. So yeah.
So it just wouldn't work out. That's I guess my point. Um, but yeah, so well, yeah, so here you go. Here's where we were. So better to go to big cities, yeah, and forget the 32.50. So, but I mean, and that's the other thing too. So that is something I don't know. If the 32.50, like if you make 60 1 hour and you make 14 the other, do they take the 2 hours and go, well, you made 32.50 averaging on the 2 hours. So
Yeah, they try to throttle it. And there are a lot of people that see them try to throttle, but like, nah, I don't think so. So yeah, you're able to pull it back the other direction because they're gonna send you a lot of crazy offers to try to bring you back down to that 32.50. But you're like, nope, nope, nope.
well, that's what I
Reject,
mean. So,
reject.
like at the end of the week, are they just kind of tallying all of what you've made, all the active hours that you worked, and then dividing the hours into or dividing, trying to figure out, okay, you worked 10 hours
Hmm.
and you made this much, you made 320 or you made $325 in 10 active hours. So you made your 32.50. We don't have to pay you anything.
Exactly. That's what they're doing. Exactly. 100%. That's what they do.
So
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, like, even if like on certain nights you think you're jamming, like, dude, I'm making 60, $70. And then on the next night you're making only 20 and you're like, oh, but this won't be 20. It'll be 32.50. That's not how it works. Because they'll
Nah.
use that day before's stats where you were making 60 and pull that into the pool and say, no,
Oh yeah. So active time, however much you make from what's that? Monday, 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to the following Monday. So average it out. Okay, you work 10 hours, make $60 an hour, you make 600. Okay. You're not getting a top off. No adjustments. So.
So Abby says they don't have a business model without drivers. Clearly, I mean, for years they've been telling us autonomous is the following year. 2020, fully autonomous, like, whatever. I know Elon's on board with this too, but everybody needs to remember: slow down. Don't get too excited. There's no infrastructure in place. So if the country has no infrastructure for this, and we don't have it tested well enough, and the insurance companies, which I've talked to, won't insure these cars, basically the insurance agents I've talked to don't really know. But what they've told me is their view is unless 80% or more of the cars on the road were fully autonomous, they don't see how they could be a player in that game because of the difference of how humans and the autonomous would interact. Well, so they say they kind of presented to me like it almost needs to be 80% or more of the drivers on the road are fully autonomous.
Oh yeah. Well, I know in Boston it's going to be quite tough because we still have those horse and carriage streets in Boston where it's like only enough room for 2 vehicles to get by, cobblestone streets. So it's going to be difficult for those EVs to take over towns like Boston.
But I also saw in Boston where on those same cobblestone streets, there were people, there were some of the undocumented people taking mopeds up them the wrong way and stuff.
Oh yeah, that is true. They do that.
So I mean, there's already so many problems in the system. That's what drives me crazy about all this. Like, what's going on in Massachusetts? You guys have some of that undocumented issue too. So it's like, what are you guys even talking about with this 3250 and these unions and stuff? Like, why don't you worry about the real problem first? Why don't you get it back to those of us who are paying taxes? Let us have the work. We pay the taxes.
True.
So now drivers and riders are wanting them to change their business model. Well, we've wanted them to change. I don't know I can't speak for everybody. I've wanted them to change the business model since 2016, 17, 18. So
yeah,
they just never change it the right way. They keep getting worse. So, but yeah, I mean, it's all about, it is a juggling act. And it is, some people tell me, I can't do what you do on that app in my market. Okay, well, I can't do what you do on this app in my market. It's all of us are different. So like, you might be able to jam something in your market I can't do here. But it is about really, even for the rideshare drive, for the pure-hearted rideshare drivers who really don't want to do anything to do with food delivery or anything else, I don't see how unless they're going to have other streams of income, this is going to be a viable thing for them anymore. I think they're going to have to pivot to this or start including something else.
Well, I kind of wish DoorDash and Uber Eats had actually got in on this $32.50 an hour, but they put up a fight. They couldn't. I don't think they could have handled it because wow, I would eat them all those apps alive if they were on here. Because like in Boston, some of the offers up there are really good. $19 for a few miles just to do Uber Eats. Whereas some of the smaller towns, even in Providence, every now and then you get a high paying offer on DoorDash and Uber Eats. But Boston up there late at night, I see so many people on those scooters and vehicles just doing. And a lot of them are different nationalities. They work hard making the money, but they can make bank at night doing deliveries.
There's nothing wrong with that if you're here and you're paying taxes. But I think those of us that pay taxes have a real problem because you're able to take the $2 offers. If you're not paying the taxes and it's a legal account, you're not paying taxes. You don't care.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different game. So it's like when you do your scooter, do you have a scooter or do you just grab one?
No, I actually have a scooter.
You have one because I was going to say it probably isn't worth it if you're renting it. So the people doing scooters probably own their scooters.
Oh yeah, and I do it for fun. Just the weather's good, just throw it out, throw my backpack on, and hey, make a couple deliveries, feel the fresh air. Something fun, something cool. People like to see it. So
I mean, it's gone in my market, but there was a time. I don't know how many other people have this, but I live in a big market, and there was a time when walking was an option on DoorDash.
Wow.
So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you're not getting the 10-mile ones and stuff, or hey,
Oh no. I do a little walking every now and then too. It's something kind of fun. The weather's nice. Like, okay, let's get a walk in. Yeah, it's fun. So yeah.
yeah, I think he meant. Oh, okay. So yeah. So even Oscar, you're referring to the comment above. Okay, gotcha. DoorDash Revolution joining us. How are you? Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also scary for sure.
Oh yeah.
In my market, they have made all rides $27.50.
Wow.
Wait, so Traveler, are you saying that like if I'm a customer and I call an Uber or a Lyft, I'm going to pay $27.50 whether I want to go a block or 8 miles?
Wow.
I'm guessing he's saying it from the customer perspective. Like a customer is going to minimally pay $27.50.
That's probably
Oh,
about
per
right.
hour.
Oh, per hour. Okay. Wow.
Wait, what? So in Syracuse, if somebody gets you on a ride, you get $27.50 per hour. Or is it per active hour? Is that what you're saying? Wow, this story just gets worse and worse and worse. Hey, Miko, how are you?
Yeah, I
And
think we
when we finish up here, guys, go over and check out Miko's live. Miko, no customers, no business. She's
Okay.
got a live going on tonight. We want all you guys to go check that out too.
Okay.
Yeah. And everybody wants to see Gigwise do. Tim hates DoorDash, like I said, and I think it's hilarious. I hate DoorDash too. I think they're just wrong in every way. But so he says no. Okay. So an active hour. I see it.
Oh,
So
okay.
$27.50 an active hour for upstate New York. I don't know what the New York City one is. I hope that's not the same as what New York City gets paid, because that's not a livable wage in New York City. And why would New York City be paid less than Massachusetts? I mean, you can't live in New York City for that.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. What do you think happens with this ballot initiative 3?
I think they're gonna pass it. That's
So
my opinion. I think
so
they're gonna
when
give the right to unionize because a lot of deception. So that's just what I think. Because
so do
where
you?
it's
I mean,
going.
you know how the history goes with rideshare. Do you think that Uber and Lyft say, "Cool, later"?
I think they will try to pull the coat string, try to pull out, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So
Right. I
so
mean, but
union.
okay, there might be a deal in there, but if that's their deal, if they're like 32.50, all the things we asked for, and we're not going to follow the one thing you asked for, we're going to put this ballot initiative out. Oh, it got passed. And now now they can unionize and they can do all that. So the one thing you wanted, you lost. You think I just know Uber and Lyft pretty well. I don't think they would just go, okay. Like I think they're going to go, well, that breaks our deal and we're gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I know people say no, it would never happen. It would never happen. They can't leave a state and that big and the city of Boston. Yeah, they can. And then it
Oh
might
yeah.
be
They
what it
can.
takes,
And the
you
bad
know,
thing
to
about it is we don't have anybody to step right in from day one. So basically
yeah,
we're screwed. So yeah. So but the
yeah,
unions, they hot and heavy. They want this thing. I don't want it. I'm not a union person. I personally don't like unions. I won't ever join one, but
but
you
but
know,
and I'm the same way as you, Ron. And I know that I've seen the things you say. Like you and I think a lot alike on that, but you and I both know too, there's a place and a time and place for a union. I mean, like firefighters and police officers, they need unions.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, even the teachers need unions. They don't work, and you have a very broken system, but they still need it. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
so.
And I just think if Uber and Lyft were just honest American based companies, just had integrity and honesty and all this stuff, we wouldn't need none of this stuff. Just pay the workers 32.50 flat rate or whatever base and be done. So just pay everybody fair and all this
Yeah,
wasted money. I'd rather have that $1 million in my back pocket. There's some things I need to buy. So
yeah. Everybody needs to realize that. Listen, with this means that look, if this number looks enticing to you, realize the customers are paying 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 times more.
Oh
So
yeah.
that means over time, might not happen immediately, but over time, volume goes down
Oh yeah, for real. Yes,
big
true.
time. I mean,
That's
it
true.
will take a while. It takes a while to set in, and it takes a while for people to get their bank statements for a couple months and go, wait, I take about 10 Ubers a month. Why is my Uber portion of my credit card bill 8 times what it normally is?
Yeah.
And then they're going to go, wait, something's wrong here.
Oh yeah.
So, like Mike said it today on the podcast, he said, they don't think of the drivers. They don't care when they're voting. Well, they'll care when they get those bills, when it does affect them.
Oh yeah.
So, I know that Abby here is saying drivers are either employees or they're true independent contractors in business for themselves, which is the goal to make a profit. If drivers can't make a profit by setting their own rates and schedules. Well, I need to say on that, there is a little clause I need to put on that because I am a traditional independent contractor long before these gig apps. I do production, lasers, lighting, staging, all that kind of stuff. And I often get proposals. So I don't set my own rate. So that's not a must in being an independent contractor. I can have an offer sent to me and it's again, it's completely transparent, which is something I demand. So it can say, here's the whole scope of the job. Here's when you're going to fly out. Here's the hotel you're staying at. Here's all the details. Here's how much you'll be paid. That's still a way of doing it too. I don't set my own rate, but they can make me offers that I can turn down. And with those companies, there's no acceptance rate. There's not such a thing.
Oh yeah.
It's if I don't take it, they just pass it to the next guy. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's mad.
And I wish they would get rid of the acceptance rate, trying to give other drivers an advantage over the other one. Like me, sometimes I get offers to drive 14, 20 minutes to go pick somebody up. I'm like, I know there's another driver in that town. Why not give it to them? Pay them the high rate, let them take care of it. All these acceptance rate games and advantage mode and pro status and this and that. I just wish all the apps would get rid of that stuff and just make it a level and fair playing field.
So before we sign off here and before you guys all go give Miko a like, even if you have something else to do, please go give her a like. Because she's working hard to fight for something that like I've been fighting for years, and she's taking it from a different angle. So please go give her a like too. But here's a question I have to you. So I'm trying to come up with a good question to end with different guests. So for you, I came up with, if you could have 1,000 customers listening to you for like just a couple minutes, a quick little pitch on what they need to know about dealing with rideshare, not you trying to get them as private clients, but just trying to open their eyes to what's really going on since they don't know. What would you say to the customers who are like, hey, why are my rates going up? And why are you guys always complaining about how little you make? I know how much I pay.
The main thing I would tell them is just have an open and honest conversation with your driver. Find out how much your driver's being paid, and maybe you all can negotiate to become private clients or friends or whatever you want to call it, to get you and your family where you need to go. Make sure the insurance is there and everything will be okay. Because the apps, you're paying a high service charge, you're paying for things that you don't have any idea on what you're paying for. So just take care of your driver. Your driver will take care of you if you find a really good one you like.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a follow-up, so if somebody were to go, oh, but if I want to use the app, it obviously there must be a way to make you a favorite driver so that whenever I want to take a ride, I could get you, right?
Nope, not necessarily. The app actually doesn't allow that to happen.
In fact, quite the opposite. The app tries to not repair you.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep,
they don't want you to do it for exactly that reason. They don't want you grabbing they don't want you grabbing private clients. Of course they don't. It's their platform.
Oh yeah.
They think these are their customers. They're not. They're people looking for rides, and we are the drivers. You are an independent contractor who's working on several apps. They know that. So you're allowed to be your own app too. Think of yourself as your own app. And do you get you. And if you can make the money, and it depends on the city you live in. And if you're doing okay on some of these apps, but don't expect it to stay good forever. Start thinking ahead. Start thinking outside the box a little bit. Even if you're not following, okay, blow up the system. Let's get some private clients here. Like, even if you're not in on that yet, like start at least opening up your eyes to that this is going on, because it is going on.
Oh yeah.
So if you're newer to this and you're wondering how real this is, it's very real, and you'll experience it with time if you stick with it. So with that said, guys, make sure you subscribe to Ron's channel. And thank you for joining me this week, Ron. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite.
Of course.
And we're over there on X too, so we chop it up on X. A lot of good drivers over there.
Yeah. No, there. And for those wondering what X is Twitter. I feel like I have to say that. Some people still don't know. I say that too, and they're like, "What's X?" I'm like, "Oh, I forget that some people don't know this."
Oh yeah, if you think Rideshare Radio is a dynamic channel, there's a lot of interesting stuff on X.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's a lot of open conversations that don't get muted too much. So it's a lot of there's a lot of things that are said over there that are very honest and real. So. But thank you everybody for watching the live. Thank you everybody for watching the replay. As always, please leave your questions and concerns in the comments below. And until next time, be safe, earn smart. And I'm going to end it a little different this week. Make sure you vote. This is so important, you guys. I mean, I know a lot of people don't always vote. Make sure you vote. It's so important. I'm not pushing anything here. I'm just telling you, just vote. Just care. Just vote. It's very important. So peace, y'all, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a good night.
She was just a baby.